Into the latest edition of ESPN FC, I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Ali Moreno. We're less than a week away now from the start of the World Cup, but more importantly, just 2 days away from the elections as to who will be the next Real Madrid president. Boy, what a soap opera this has been. Riquelme's been spouting a lot of nonsense. We've heard the same from Florentino Perez about this big, incredible player that he was going to sign. I'm going to make an offer of 150 million euros for a great player from a Champions League team on Tuesday. Is Olise great player, but it's not him? Well, apparently, according to all the rumours, it was Olise. So there we go. The Germans have spoken about the possibility of Olise moving over the last couple of months, given his talent and given, of course, that he's rumoured to be very much in the contention for the Ballon d'Or. For a player like Olise, there's no price tag. That would make us flinch. Meanwhile, Olise came out and said Mourinho can keep 5 eyes on Olise. He won't get him. He'll not be sold, not even for 200 million euros. We play this game for our fans. It does little good if we have 200 million more in the bank and play worse football every Saturday because of that. Right, we are. So that's the end of that. Oh, wait, no, we're going to talk about it. Here is Mark Ogden. Nedum is with us, as is Alex Kirkland. Hey, Alex, your bank manager's loving all this.
It's been good fun, these elections. We should do it more often, not just once every 20 years, I think.
Right, so this is... Why did he say it's not Olise when it is Olise?
It's very interesting, isn't it? And because, as you say, he was one of the specific players that Florentino Perez denied that this mystery 150 million euro man was. And then when you saw these credible reports from respectable journalists today saying it is Olise, I think actually it makes you think, OK, if they're going with this, despite that specific denial, there must be something in it. Now, we should say there are conflicting reports as well. There's some reports here in Spain that, perhaps Perez was referring to 1 or 2 other high-profile targets at PSG, for example, João Neves, Vitinha. He's been told that those are simply not options, and so he's sort of switching focus to Olise. Either way, I think it's a pretty smart move from Florentino, because what it sparked was a massive kind of nationwide guessing game, basically, with everyone saying, is it this player? Is it this player? The consensus seems to have settled on Olise. As you say, seems like a pretty much mission impossible from a Madrid point of view, because there's no reason to think that Bayern Munich could be willing to sell. But in a way, that doesn't matter to Florentino, because as you say, he said, I'll make this bid on Tuesday. And the elections are on Sunday. So by then, I've been elected president. I'm back in for another 4 years. And whether I actually follow through on it or not doesn't matter. And of course, he didn't promise to sign this player. He said, I will bid for this player on Tuesday. So he can bid for him. He just might not get him.
Ah, there you are.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for that, Alex.
If you're Olise, let's just play this game because there's nothing else to talk about. Where would you go at the moment if Real Madrid comes knocking, given the state of the club?
You go nowhere. You stay right there in Munich. You stay at Bayern Munich. You were a couple of missed chances and a couple of goals scored by PSG away from making it into a Champions League final, potentially winning Champions League. You were right there with PSG, who is, again, the best team in Europe. You don't in any way affect what this can be for Bayern Munich if you're Michael Olise. And mind you, he had a great season. He has taken his career from a good player to an elite level player, to be considered among the best players in the world. And that all happened under Vincent Kompany at Bayern Munich. Why would you go elsewhere, especially when you don't know what exactly is happening at Real Madrid? Michael Olise is in a great place in Bayern Munich, and I don't know why you will go anywhere else, knowing full well what you have available playing next to you, what you have available on the bench, what you have available in terms of the structure of the club. You don't have this sort of drama at Bayern Munich that you're having right now at Real Madrid. You want consistency and continuity, which I think Michael Olise appreciates. I'm going to suggest that for Michael Olise, his best place is Bayern Munich.
Nedum, you're close to Vincent Kompany, of course, still after your playing days. You said he'd be happy to see him go.
What?
Yeah, I don't think I said that, to be honest. And I think I agree with Ali as well, that Olise's best spot is going to be in Munich, isn't it? And I think as well, when you see the type of person that he is, not just a player, he's somebody who enjoys just the football side of things. And I think it's fair to say that if you go to Real Madrid, there's going to be a lot of other stuff going on a day-to-day basis, from wearing that, that white shirt, that iconic white shirt. So yeah, for him staying at Bayern, I think it's a great thing for him. He's just been voted Bundesliga Player of the Season. And I think what I like over these last 2 years, for as much as they've won those league titles, that Champions League goal is still there. And it seems like something which they're trying to achieve as the collective. So I think for Olise to fall in line with that, to have that belief, to know that the team could be getting better and better, I think at this moment in time, you know, we can't argue Real Madrid aren't necessarily the biggest club in the world, but Bayern Munich is the best place for him right now. He's playing the best football he's played in his career, and he's still only 24 years of age, so why would you leave now?
150. Oh, sorry, Alan.
Sorry, I'm just going to say that one more thing about Michael Olise, and it's alluding to something that Nedum was mentioning there. His personality is such that he doesn't like talking to the media. Who would like to talk to Archie Rintot? Well, nobody, but Michael Olise really doesn't. He won't. And he just doesn't want to be in the spotlight, even though his talent would suggest so. Well, he doesn't like it. Bayern Munich, they sort of embrace that and they kind of make fun of it or whatever, but they respect that. If you do that same thing at Real Madrid, now you get the sort of Gareth Bale treatment,
right,
in that, oh, well, this guy doesn't want to talk to the media. This guy is aloof. This guy is this, that, and the other. And players haven't been able to kind of fly under the radar at Real Madrid. And I know it sounds crazy, but Michael Olise flies under the radar at Bayern Munich, and I think he appreciates that. Again, Bayern Munich is his place right now.
So you think 150 million about right in the market, and then you think 80 million for Mateus Fernandes, who just got relegated with West Ham, Mark. What world are we living in?
Yeah, I just think that's West Ham's kind of opening gambit to say that, you know, this guy is not for sale for anything less than that. But let's be honest, West Ham are relegated. I don't think West Ham are in a position to set the terms of setting such a high fee for a player they only signed a year ago. So I don't think that Mateus Fernandes will go for anything like £80 million. I think you're probably looking at maybe £45-50 million, but you can't blame West Ham for trying. But like I say, they're going to find it very, very difficult to keep Mateus Fernandes or any of their players because they're in the Championship next season. Financially, they'll have to let people go. And also players are just not going to want to stick around. Players of quality like Jarrod Bowen, Fernandes, they are not going to play the Championship. So West Ham, yes, I understand why they're doing it. It's the first week of June, but they won't get anything like £80 million for Mateus Fernandes.
You mentioned the fact, obviously, Alex, when Sunday happens, it doesn't really matter what you've promised when it comes to Monday. But surely it does a bit when you're linked to all these different players.
Well, if Florentino Perez wins, you know, the other promises he's made are extremely deliverable. They're already done in terms of Jose Mourinho, Konate, Denzel Dumfries. You know, they will arrive if Florentino wins. And like I say, the next promise from him was, I will go and bid for this 150 million euro player. So he can say that he's fulfilled all of those promises. And then let's see after that. I'm not sure, to be honest, that Florentino really wants to be spending 150 million euros because Real Madrid, we think that they've got endless resources. They haven't really. And in recent years, they haven't tended, apart from one or two big exceptions, they haven't spent, you know, huge transfer fees on players. They prefer to wait for players to arrive on free transfers, like Mbappe, for example. So I don't think he'd be too disappointed to end up not spending that sort of money.
Enrique is obviously the challenger, who's just come out with some marvellous quotes, obviously. Erling Haaland will go to Real Madrid if he's elected. And who will be in charge? Not Jose Mourinho, but the manager we want for our Real Madrid project is Jurgen Klopp.
Oh.
On Monday, if we win the elections, our director, Raul, will get in touch with Klopp. Fantastic. There we are. Go on, Alex.
Well, again, he's taking a leaf out of Florentino's book because he's saying, look, after the elections, and he's not promising to get this guy, he's saying that we'll ask. But we'll go and talk to Klopp. Now, our information has been, and my colleague Roger has reported that there's already been contact between Enrique Riquelme's camp over the last couple of weeks and Jurgen Klopp and people close to Jurgen Klopp as well. He has been their number one. The reason they haven't announced that beforehand is because they haven't been successful in convincing him to come on board. And this is essentially an acknowledgement of that. It's them saying, well, look, we will send Raul, you know, sort of the biggest name, a history, of course, in German football as well, with Schalke, so some sort of connection there, to Klopp, to go and talk to Klopp and try and convince Klopp. But once again, this is a post-election promise. So it is, if we get in, we'll try and make this happen. I think it's the right call. Again, I think it's the right name to go for. But like I say, I also think it's an acknowledgement that they haven't been able to get Klopp to say yes previously.
What's the percentage chance, by the way, for this election, Alex?
Florentino is the massive favourite. I think that Riquelme might do okay, might outperform what initial expectations might have been. You know, I think initially we kind of thought an overwhelming victory for Florentino. Look, we don't know. Like I say, it's been 20 years since we last had a contested election at Real Madrid. I've seen lots of opinion polls. None of them it's only members that vote. So it's very different asking fans for their opinion and Real Madrid members. Their makeup is different. They may be a little bit older, a little bit more conservative. But I think that Florentino will win convincingly. But I think that Riquelme will get enough votes to sort of, have a creditable performance and one that maybe sets him up nicely for the future, for the next elections, for the post-Florentino Perez kind of era.
What an understatement that is, a little older and a little more conservative. Riquelme, of course, says that Erling Haaland will be wearing the whites of Real Madrid if he gets in Nedum. He's going to leave at some stage, isn't he? It's inevitable. How long do you think he's got left?
Erling Haaland at
Yes.
City, I don't know, probably another 3-4 years, to be honest. I can't see this Real Madrid thing being a thing. And, when we think about some of the problems that Real Madrid have had over the last couple of years, I wouldn't think necessarily bringing another number 9 would solve all of those issues. So yes, it sounds nice, you can have the AI of the shirt and all this stuff, but in reality, I think he's very much tied down to City, not necessarily tied down to a Guardiola. I think he's going to be a big part of these next few years for City in terms of trying to, reclaim the Premier League title.
Do you believe that, Mark? 3 to 4 years?
No, because I think Pep Guardiola leaving City does change things a lot. I think Haaland stays there certainly for next season. But Guardiola is why these players signed for Man City. Obviously, they want to win trophies to be well paid, but Pep Guardiola was the main attraction. That isn't the case now. Enzo Maresca is a good coach, but he's not Pep Guardiola. And right from the outset of Haaland's career, there was this kind of strategy that was in place by his family and his people that he would play in a lot of leagues in Europe. He was in Norway, went to Austria, went to Germany, and obviously he's been so successful at City and so well paid that's kind of slowed down a bit. But there is still a sense that he will play in the league at some point, and I think it's a case of who can afford him, because neither Real nor Barcelona, you would think right now, have got the financial ability to sign Haaland. Certainly Barcelona haven't, but Real, like Alex was saying, they don't really go for huge fees anymore. So Haaland is a player that will command a big fee. City stated in the statement yesterday that there is no release clause, no escape clause. So he won't come cheap. But obviously he joined City on a fairly low transfer fee from Dortmund, so maybe there might be some arrangement there whereby he can leave for a modest fee. But right now I think that he'll definitely get another year out of Haaland at City. But I think Pep leaving changes everything. And we don't know what's going to happen with the 115 charges, which you would think at some point might come during the remaining 8 years of his contract.
Nedum has his hand up.
All right.
Yeah, it was just. Yeah, thanks for that. Dan, the magic of TV. So yeah, I think in regards to say Haaland potentially moving, I hear people say this guy signed because of Guardiola and so on and so forth. But then if, say, for example, Haaland was to go to Real Madrid, is he going to Real Madrid because it's just Real Madrid? Or is he going, is it for Jose Mourinho, whose stock at this moment in time isn't anywhere near as good as it was, say, maybe 10, 15 years ago? There are other situations like that where, he's linked to this club, linked to that club. But what is the thing that's going to draw him towards that space? Because in terms of competitiveness and a sort of overall feeling of a football club wanting to be successful, City will be able to offer many of those things. And so if it's not a case of, Guardiola leaving, now he has to leave. If he leaves, who does he cover the most? I think you could maybe say a Luis Enrique at PSG, but I don't think that's going to be something that's going to happen. So that's why I believe he's probably going to stay there for another 3-4 years.
What's the appeal, Manchester over Madrid, Nedum?
I think primarily it's the amount of rain and H2O that you can have here. You'll
Right.
never worry about droughts. It'll never get too hot. Sometimes it might get a little bit too cold. But I think also, Real Madrid, it's acknowledged that, in terms of size, they are the biggest club in all of football. We think how big and significant football is. But there is still more to it. Like we've just spoken about Olise not wanting to go to Real Madrid, for example, potentially, given what his personality type is like. So it's not like at the moment you get the call, you have to go, because this Real Madrid in this moment isn't the same as it was, say, maybe 3-4 years ago when they had a bit more energy around them, and you can almost guarantee they're going to be in a Champions League final. So this is a changing of the guard.
Oh,
and maybe Manchester with all the beautiful rain is...
Nedum, come on, it's Real Madrid.
Dan, I think
What are you doing?
You didn't say that about Olise, did you? You didn't say that about Olise, did you? Come on, behave yourself.
I'm just saying. When I worked there, they didn't make it past the knockout stage of the Champions League, yet you still bring in Kaká, Zidane, Figo. You bring the whole shebang, because the name it is.
Yeah.
What would you say about older
Dan, I think
conservative?
there's one thing that pointed out.
Please carry on.
There's one thing with Man City over the years that they've always been very good at keeping the best players. You know, Sergio Aguero never left until they were ready for him to go. Kevin De Bruyne. City are extremely powerful, and even Real Madrid couldn't get the best stars out of Man City. And I think that is still the case. You know, City have got immense wealth, immense power, but it's Real Madrid, and I think the same goes for Olise. You know, I agree with you guys that Olise shouldn't leave Bayern Munich right now, but it is Real Madrid. It's the one club in the world where you think it would press a few buttons, but right now you probably wouldn't go there in the sense that it's a bit of a mess. But it's Real Madrid, and you can never take that away.
And Real Madrid have been rubbish, of course. Oh, sorry.
Well, the caveat is next season, Manchester City. We're assuming they're going to be good. We're assuming they're going to be competitive. We're assuming that they're going to win the league. What are we assuming here?
We don't even know their manager at the
Correct.
moment, Ali.
There you go.
Sort out, yeah.
So we're taking a lot
Sort
of
out your own
assumptions.
house.
Yes,
Made and
absolutely.
start throwing stones at others.
Okay.